And we're live. Okay. So, just to show just how much of a glutton for punishment I am, and how I think it's equal parts, hero complex and me just having some irrepressible thing for Irish girls, especially if they're broken in some way. And we're gonna do another app for this little thing here. I have it up on the chat. I'm resistant to put it up on the screen though because I'm going to go into some details here that I'm going to urge her not to read out loud when this comes across her transom again.
Hi.
Mainly going into how a while back she got doxxed rather badly. It's like they did, this idiot did everything but name out the exact address, but he gave the apartment building, the town, and and which way the thing faces. So it's like just casually looking at stuff, you can figure out which apartment she's in. And it doesn't take much of it. So I can imagine what is going to happen if somebody comes across and has got a real hate boner for her. But we go into this thing. Again, go into this thing. Starting out, a few changes in from last time. Age, 59 in about a week. Doesn't matter. We won't be dating. Height, the $2. No problem looking me right in the eye. Tell me I'm full of shit. But getting into tell me about yourself. Start off, okay, this time I'll be serious. No flirty jokes playing in the dating app concept. And stop doing, because I know she's going to be doing this snotty voice. So if I catch her up the eye, stop doing that voice. Stop it. Or that might get a laugh out of her, or just a disgusted look at her. One of the way or the other.
Ornery, for crap's sakes.
Like I said over and over, I just want to be friends. And to be perfectly honest, I miss talking with you. I said, I miss just the interaction, but even the arguments. And I hate having to work around all this because they're making me feel like a bit of a creepy stalker, having to try and reach out to her. As stated last time, I am extremely loyal to those I choose as friends and fiercely protective of them. Unlike your idiot mods. And here's where I get the stuff where she's not going to want to read this out loud because it goes into the information that should not be out. That she,
Hey.
And on two separate things, this idiot very effectively, doxed her. And it doesn't take a whole lot of brain power to figure out, oh, wow, that's, look up a couple things, compare a few videos. Oh, yeah, there she is. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I've got this crazy cat here.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yes.
But went into the detail here and found how this idiot, and the thing is, other than me and Rosetta here, I'm the only occasion that we're the only ones who even noticed it or reported this jackass. Yeah. Every time I check on it, the post was still there. This guy has now protected his tweets. You have to follow him. Well, thankfully, he has no followers. So that's one saving grace there.
So nobody's going to see him anyways.
Hopefully it stays that way, but only some idiot going to, Because again, he had two separate threads revolving India. He posted up there the same thing. So here's on this building and this town, and look at and overlooks this there. Go pay her a visit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beyond creepy.
It's encouraging someone to show up unannounced. Okay. So moving on. And during the live stream where she's reading that first app I put in, and they're having a grand old time there. And I'm not going to expect that. I put in there. I know I'm about to get burned to the stake here, but for the sake of the entertainment of everyone involved, here we go. And Rosetta pointed out first, but some guy in the chat on the YouTube is threatening to swat her. Now, this is right on the heels of her being doxxed. Okay? And this idiot's in there saying, well, how about I swat your house? It's like, now, any moderator with any sense of responsibility towards protecting the channel owner or just 3 functioning brain cells yeets that comment out, reports the idiot and bans him from the channel. What happens
I think you just found the fault. 3 functioning brain cells.
That's true. I think between the whole lot of them got 3 functioning brain cells. Because they would have yeeted the guy, reported him, banned him from the channel. But what these guys don't do a damn thing, except for one guy who likes to think of himself as her right-hand man. And He thinks he's speaking for her half the time when she told me himself she doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He starts arguing with the guy. Please don't do it. That's not safe. No, please don't do that. Like, what the actual fuck?
I gotta say, that actually made me livid.
Yeah.
I came into this situation. I was hostile towards her because of the stuff I saw her publicly say about you, and because I know that's not your personality and what you do. And yeah, she may have misinterpreted things, but I know you well enough. That's not how you are. So I did come in hostile. And you're the one who pointed me to videos about what she's been through and stuff, and actually kind of pulled me back to say, no, she's not that bad. Just give her a chance.
Yeah.
I don't think that the situation is all that. I get the whole argument on pronouns and stuff for people who are actually trans or have these issues. I'm not going to say whether this person is or not. I am going to say that to all those people who keep saying, well, respect what I say to call me, respect what I say to call me. I can't even remember half of my family's own names because of my memory issues and flare-ups. I can't censor what I say because there's no filter in my brain, literally. It burned away in seizures. So I don't have that ability, even if I'm trying. So as I've told people that I know who seriously do have real dysmorphia issues and stuff like that, it's not an insult if I don't say what you want me to say. And I'm going to say that here too, because I want this to be clear. I'm not coming in hostile with this. I'm not saying she because I want to got you or smack the person in the face with it or something. I'm saying what I'm capable of saying with my issues. So the same grain of salt that we're supposed to show each other, I am perfectly fine with showing that grain of salt. But I ask for it in return because I can't just do that.
But it's like, I know, during that thing, we're watching it live. This isn't like I came. And I have no. She's on doing her Minecraft stream, but she's starting off reading off my app. They're having a grand old time on that one. And we watch this thing. It's like, what the fuck? And I know if I chipped in, because I'm lurking on there. If I'd said anything and made them know that I'm there, I'd have got it with a ban hammer because I'm probably going to be number one over there right now.
Well, unfortunately, whatever people think on YouTube, people you ban can still view. They just can't speak.
Yeah. But I would have done that full cap saying, why are you arguing with him? Ban him. He just threatened to dox her. And it would have been all caps. So Indy would have seen it too. What the fuck's going on here?
That one baffled me beyond belief, and it actually angered me.
It would have been a shit show either way, because again, with the fact that I dared to speak up, but the thing I couldn't, I don't think I really could have done anything in that situation. As far you reported, I'm not there, I recall. But even but I said, this idiot is again, he very verbose in the replies and stuff, and half the time he's talking about what she's doing on family. What are we gonna do? What do you mean we, paleface? I need a black guy, so I'm really. You ain't there. You're not the one making this stuff. You were a moderator. No, don't think this because you had no real part any more than we do in this situation. You can shout out suggestions, and she can say yay or nay. So you don't know anything more about her life than I do. So shut up. But let's say if he wants to pretend to be her right hand simp, he needs to step up and actually do his fucking job as a moderator because that was inexcusable.
Yeah, no proper simp would be sitting there going, "Don't swat the person; they would be livid."
Please don't. That's not safe. Fuck you, ban him. What the hell's wrong with you?
Learn to simp right, damn it. I mean, sorry. Look, Jesus,
I mean, fucking Christ.
You don't got to be a beauty queen to get simps on the internet.
Yeah,
I have literally had to block DMs because of creepy come-ons I get from people all the time.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
I have had to private my accounts multiple times from people threatening me and making multiple accounts sitting on me.
Yeah.
I know I'm not gorgeous. I know I have medical problems that have caused weight gain. I learned to accept it after many, many years of being destructive to myself, but I know it.
Yeah.
I know I have dysmorphic issues. I know I'm albino and I don't look like my own race. So
we've all got something, okay? Something, and the mind does not match the body almost ever. We've got something that's not walked by the mirror. Oh shit!
Yeah. So look, I know I'm no beauty queen. So if I've got all these guys chasing after me, and I do, and several girls. In fact, I have several friends in my female inner circle on Twitter who have flat out admitted that they have crushes on me or would simp for my boobs. Just a little context here. I know, and right now I'm bloated as hell from the reaction I had to an infection. So I look like I have a freaking hump right now, like hell, because my back's swollen and stuff, and that does not help. My chin's puffy from the meds, and that doesn't help either. It makes me look even bigger than normal, and I'm sure you kind of noticed already, probably. But
by the way, here's the reason to go to Dollar Tree.
But
big tall boy Cokes. Okay,
I can accept my flaws, and I think we all have to reach that point. I spent a long time hating myself and starving myself and working out to the point where I would literally break bones from the stress. And you can't do that to yourself, no matter how much you may hate how you look or what you're going through. You've got to learn to love yourself. And I say that because I genuinely believe it and think that we're in a lot of trouble in this society if we don't do something about it.
No, I said you needed to, it's it. And for the record, I promise her, I'm going to keep her information to myself. Because I got, and part of the thing, I rate, this your address? That's how, exact this guy laid it out, basically, without just saying it.
And
I said, the most I'm going to do, send her a birthday card, maybe a gift card from Michael's, because she goes there a lot, and maybe the occasional present. And fair is fair. I gave her my address, and said, balance of power has been restored. You may now resume reading out loud to the stream. And now, once I get that out of the way so I don't dox myself, we'll go ahead.
And hopefully that part will not bite you in the ass and get you doxxed. Well,
again, it's a private thing. I'm sitting there, and again, I'm doxing myself in this thing too. So, all right, now
I'm very cynical and mistrusting. And again, that's not a slam on that person. I do think the reaction from what I've been seeing is you've been through enough. You're reacting and seeing things that weren't there. Fine. I get that. Oh God, how many friends have I lost because I freaked out on them over things?
That's like, as far as, her reaction to me for the most part, like how many guys over the 10 years or so have been, I'll take you away from all this. Let's all go on a Fire Island and make babies.
I mean,
and I'm walking into this shit saying, "Hey, no, I'm serious.
I'm some big threat. This is all of me right here. Massive dream catchers on the wall, making animal videos, sitting here writing and posting stuff because I'm disabled, and the little bit of work I do with animals and helping people in the inner city is about all I can do.
Let's see if we can bring this and make it a little bigger. There we go. But here we go. Yeah.
I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to divide people further. I just want us to find a common ground where we can help one another. As corny and cliche as that may sound to a lot of people, and I know it does, I'm not threatening. I have never been threatening. Unless somebody is actually a threat to me. In which case, I will take your ass out with no fear. In Minecraft, people. In Minecraft.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So, bow into the stuff so she can share publicly again. So, watch your jobs that, again, in-home caregiver, aspiring YouTuber, and this time I changed. Trying to get back into radio. There's actually been a little movement on that front. Not a lot. Still might be nothing, but it's, again, it's keeping my spirits up a bit.
I've been sitting here mixing songs and stuff out of live performances from a lot of the artists I follow. Because my dad, before, when I was into Job Corps, when I was a teenager, back when Audacity and those programs first came out around 2000, was teaching me how to do DJ remixes and stuff on them because he used to work as a DJ. So here's a little context to those people. This gives them a little info on me so they don't think I'm just making things up. Early stand-up routines from Sinbad. Where he made the whole phrase common in the 80s, the go for it. That came from my dad. My dad was the college DJ that Sinbad was quoting in those routines.
One Sinbad thing talking about, McDonald's. Who goes them out then? Oh, they had the same menu there. Every McDonald's has the same damn menu. Order a double cheeseburger. Get out of the way.
I don't mind that. I hate McDonald's. Yeah. Just absolutely revile them. I wouldn't eat there if you paid me. But to all the people going to these places, yeah. I don't mind if you're going to take a while to figure out what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to eat, stuff like that. I get that. We all have picky days and finicky days, and we have days we don't remember what we're thinking. Go away from the line, check the menu, figure out what you want, then get in line.
Thankfully, McDonald's now has automated kiosks everywhere. That's what $15 an hour work at McDonald's gets you fired. They realize we just put these kiosks over here. You're going to pay the squat. One person on counter. A few people in back. We don't need 15 people anymore. Bye.
When I was working fast food in college, it was not an inactive store. It was quite a popular one. And yet they left us with me and a cook running the entire place all the time when I was working as the manager. And we were literally running front, drive-through, management, and kitchen all at once, two of us.
Well, I've had the fun time when it's supposed to be a shift change for management, and then a bus shows up. I'm having to run the floor. And then it gets resolved, and the manager suddenly shows up, wonders why I'm upset.
Been there, done that, have the T-shirt. I mean, can we just honestly accept people?
Yeah.
That...
And she sent me home. Like, what the fuck?
They're sucky jobs.
I came back later. I finished my hours later, but I was like, God damn it.
Actually, it's kind of funny because me and the store manager really did not get along. And in the manager's office, there's this cork board that everyone in the management team is allowed to put a few things up on as their personality, memoirs of who they are and stuff. So that things that they can look at and use as calming while they're doing money counts and all the paperwork and stuff. Yeah. I could not stand her. And this woman was so vain that all her stuff she put up was pictures of herself.
Oh, Jesus.
So you remember the old Happy Bunnies? The snarky little bunnies and sayings?
Oh, yeah, I got a bunch of those stickers.
I got one as a postcard that said, it's okay if you want to drop dead, and aimed it so the picture was pointing at her. She didn't get it. She didn't get it. She thought I just hung it a little crooked. It's like,
oh God!
She talked about, I love Happy Bunny, and I'm sitting there going, I'm wishing you dead, but okay, woman, go ahead.
Okay. Oh God! Yeah, we're gonna be here all night if we do fast food war stories. Okay. Main hobby: Fortnite. I've had to modify Fortnite. Sometimes Genshin Impact. Now that I've upgraded my computer, it should be like more games to follow. And there's the heap of model kits around me. Again, how do you spend your free time? Okay. So much for being classy inside of the museum. So other things. So besides reacquainting myself with those museums I missed while we were homeless, trying to build my channel, trying to bring some order to the chaos that is my apartment, and getting back into my own artwork. I got a comic book I started many moons ago, and with the explosion in independent comics these days, now many moons.
Oh, pale face.
Yeah. We don't want to go into how far it was. Let's just say
many moons ago.
Let's say before Indy was born by about a year. As well, I was working on My Life Comics back in.
Let me put it this way: I've got books that I need to release that I've been writing since I was 11.
Yeah.
One sec.
Yeah. Let's see. Preferred dating dynamic again, just friends. I have no intention of cheating on my wife. And changed a bit on the what size clothes are you? Extra large shirts, mainly because of the shoulders. I'm also liking them on the baggy side these days. Again, that's on my shoulders. And this is an extra large shirt. It's hitting right about where it should. So I should have been wearing an extra large a while ago. This isn't just a weight thing. Okay. Let's see. What do you think of my job? I said we covered this last time. You seem genuinely surprised by my answer. I think I'll leave it at that. Where do you live? Address above. Do you have pets? Same thing as last time. Grew up a dog, cat, give me. Yeah. I would probably this is why we go over this thing, and I'll just hit send. How do you describe yourself politically? I would probably not fit in well in Seattle. So anyway.
I could probably blend in better than you could because I hate both sides, and I'm snarky enough I can blend in with the beatniks.
Whereas I'd find the MAGA crowd and start trying
Ew.
to
Sorry,
those situations tend to breed the most extreme results because just to stay alive, you got to go whack them. Are you religious? Asked and answered last time, counselor. Move on. Where's that? Why is there a D there? There. Which way do you swing? Irrelevant. We won't be dating. Okay, here's the latest big one here. Okay. Thoughts on mental illness? No thanks. I prefer to be crazy by choice. Joke. Get it more serious. Everyone's got something off about them. It's part of what makes us interesting. Normal people are boring as fuck. As for thoughts on your mental illness, I think we've beaten that horse well past the glue stage. I think you're looking for a way to wrap this shit up already, and taking the trans route seems to fit the bill. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Your IRL friends and family are probably also exhausted with keeping up with you on this score, and it's almost certainly a factor in why they're so supportive. Plus, it's Seattle, leftist utopia, probably something in the water. There are no shortcuts, Indy. This is likely going to be a lifelong struggle. All I've been saying all along, you can look it up, I've said it times over and over again, is not to do something irreversible over this. Body dysmorphia is something everybody has to one degree or another, me included. And this was part of when it was within the anorexia thing. It was body dysmorphia. Therapy is supposed to help you reconcile the mind and the body, not urge you towards professionally administrated self-harm. That's what top surgery would be in your case. But we're not going to resolve that dispute here, so I'll leave it there. And that's the thing. The only difference is, instead of cutting on her own arm, she's having a surgeon cut her things up. It's the same difference. U.S., there's my answer. And again, would you ever want to make vids together? She misspelled one, left out an N. Again, I'm a good cameraman and pretty neat senator. More realistically, I'd probably be best keeping the dogs, busy while she's doing her thing. And be ready with the paper towels afterwards. Solo work is something to trademark for you. The addition of my dick would be in the mix would only serve to stretch out her supply of fake cum. Plus, there's also the aforementioned assurance that I have no intention to cheat on my wives, not even for the sake of art. Do you want kids? Yes, like any, and this is a modified it. Yes, like any self-respecting Englishman, I need a male heir. Can I read this on stream? Yes, she's going to anyway, whether I want to or not. And one last thing, yes, they would. Do understand this is mostly for fun and won't get on the thing, don't get the hopes of yada yada yada. So there we go on that one. And fire.
Yeah.
Off we go. And so we're gonna see how much fun and excitement we give the crowd this time. Again, this time I didn't give them a whole lot of yucks on there to work with there, so. But I'm sure she'll find him anyway. And yet I'm hoping that, get her attention, at least calling out her mods. You think these guys are your friends? They're not looking at your back. By not doing their job, they're encouraging it.
Yeah. The thing is, and I say this as somebody who I'm not the easiest person to get along with. Mm-hmm. I'm screwed up. I have a lot of problems. I fuck shit up a lot. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. But yeah, with this little thing, I'm thinking like I've gone beyond just lurking for your streams. Or is this the time when she's going to have the full psychotic break or whatever and go weird? But I'm not that. No, I don't think that's going to happen necessarily. Mainly because he hits that bong so damn hard, she couldn't have a psychotic break if you hit her in the head with a sledgehammer. But yeah. But it's gone with that doxing thing, and then is this the? I'm going to be calling Seattle 911, because our mods are going to be totally useless on that.
That's the thing that really gets to me. Look, we're not perfect. None of us. Mm-hmm. And yes, I've gotten into some of the snark with you and other stuff like that. Oh, yeah. I admit it. I boo-hoo. What are we going to do? Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Mm-hmm. None of us are fucking perfect. Mm-hmm. But we can do our best.
Yeah.
We can do our damnedest.
Yeah.
To try to be good people.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm sitting here sorting projects and
Mm-hmm.
writing books and tailing stuff out while we do this. Because I have 5 billion projects I'm always doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have trouble keeping my house organized.
There's something I did. Part of my little building, the 350 enterprise, 1/350 scale enterprise. Here's something I should be able to wrap up really quickly. Look right here. That's the shuttlecraft. It's ready to just, a couple little dots of white paint on the nacelles there, and then the decals, and that's done. At least declare that part of the enterprise kit to be completed. But yeah, it's like this whole thing, on the Inside Star Trek album that Roddenberry did back in '76. He does a little essay at the end, going about his upbringing, what fed into his idea for when he created Star Trek, and his stuff in his childhood and people he knew over the years, and kind of like, what is the real message of Star Trek here, and what is the philosophy? And it's kind of like, our job is not to judge, but to experience. When we only get one shot around here, it's like enjoy it, and fix what you can, help out when you can, but don't be an idiot. Everything. One of the phrases, thank whatever made us. We are different.
So I don't know if I've ever explained to you what I call my episodic poems.
I think you
kind of
mentioned
explains
briefly,
what I'm doing here. Yeah. Okay, so basically, you know how some artists will get really fancy and they'll make the table of context in their albums or something sound almost like you're reading a story or a poem as you read it.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically that on steroids.
Okay.
The intro, the table of context to the poetry book is a poem, a full poem.
Mm-hmm.
And every line in it is the title of one of the poems. When you go through those poems, they tell the story. So with ones like, titles like Take Off My Head, Angel of Light, and Healer's Touch, you can tell I'm going through rebirth, relife, and dealing with wars and fighting.
Yeah.
I got some that are pretty dark and twisted, I'll admit that, but each one of them could actually be a small poetry book. Now, if you add artwork into this and make it large print, easy to read, all that, you could easily make each one into a pretty little booklet, similar to a small comic. I write a lot of them. It's kind of fun.
Okay.
I'm trying to go through all the ones I've gotten done, figure out which ones I still need to finish. So it just drives me nuts.
So there's a response video I did to one idiot said, "What did Gene Roddenberry do anything? All the other writers did this stuff." Who do you think managed all this? Okay, they're all done under Roddenberry's control and approval here. He didn't just sit back and cash the checks. He did have a certain amount of say in what happened. So I had to slap back this idiot. What do you think an executive producer does, especially back in the day? Okay. I'm going to see if I can find that Roddenberry. Nice little dissertation he did there. And it was back in '76 when he was just starting to believe his own shit. It wasn't fully taking credit for everything yet.
Now he's gotten worse at that, definitely.
Oh, he really went after it later, but.
Okay. Oh, what you do and he. Okay, so those are good.
I should be getting a new copy of. God. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not on none of the web page, the stream up. I can't get the mute button. So, okay. Okay, get out of it. Hold on. What? Hold on.
Okay. so 3,
Steph wants
6,
some light, so I'm going to step away for a moment.
7, and 8. Assuming there's no double lines here. Yes, I could kind of talk about what I'm doing here.
Okay, so I will step away for a second here.
So the first poem book in this one is literally called Take Off My Head. And it is about a freedom fighter willing to die to fight against the tyrant that killed her family. So, as you can tell, that one's probably a little dark and twisted. Just a little. Go through that, and boy almighty, that one's a big one. Then I go to my couple spiritual ones that are kind of nice and kind of cheery, and I see them here. I'm good with it. There's one that has a double version. Okay. Now, the double version is kind of a complicated thing. I'm taking some of my oldest stuff, and I'm rewriting alternate versions of it. This may seem kind of weird to some people, but it's kind of calming to me because it helps me show where I came from and how I've developed. So this one has 4 in it. I need to keep track of exactly how many I've finished so far of these and how many I still need to finish. God forbid I do little less work sometimes. I mean, I am a little crazy. I love my work and it consumes me. This one is supposed to be Spirit, which is a old poem of mine I'm working on rewriting into an actual full series because I realized the lines in it actually really work. However, the story I came up with begs for context and extras. So for every main poem in it I'm going to write, there's going to be a series of little mini poems that go with it that are based on the concepts in it. This one will probably be over 80 poems together by the time I finish the book. So this is the stuff I do, and I love writing poetry. And I know it's an acquired taste, and a lot of people don't like poetry. I kind of don't give a shit about that because I like writing it. So.
Oh, no. I had one picture, I have 2. They're being green.
Are you two going to sit there and argue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in book 1 of the special episodics, there are 4.
Mm. Okay. Mm. Mm.
So I was kind of explaining a little bit of what I'm doing here. And I'm trying to figure out right now how many of these I've gotten finished so far. 4 sets here. Remember, when I say each set can be its own book, little special poetry book. Because remember, in a lot of poetry books they release, they're thin books. Yeah. They have anywhere from like 8 to 30 poems, depending on the book and the design and how long the poems are. And usually a lot of it's the artwork around it, right? So realistically, I could have a lot of fun with this. But it's kind of an interesting situation. Oh boy. All right, so slow down that playback there. Save that file. All right. So there's 4 in that one. This small little notebook, Spiritual Episodics, book 1. This is the fun part of my life. I am an obsessive artist and writer. And I'm at the point where I've been writing it for decades. And aside from the parts I've actually done for specific people, I don't usually release it. Most of it is sitting mostly finished or half finished or partly finished all over the freaking room. So I need to finish them. There's 3 in this book. That's good to know. Okay. There's 3 in there. All right. Episodic poems. I also don't they're going to be interesting because the book titles are not the order that I wrote them in. Because what happened was I was going through all my old poetry, all my old stories, all my old continuity notes, and deciding what I was going to turn each thing into to finish it, complete it, do all this. So I came up with this like almost 200 ideas for episodic poems books. Actually, probably more than 200 when you add in that folder that I haven't built books for yet. But I have just the base page, and I didn't have the whole thing written out yet. So I built a notebook for each one where I put in the exact number of pages I need based on what it is, all of that stuff, filled out the title cards and stuff on the front and numbered them so I could find the book and work on it easy.
Here we are.
So I have all of these numbered to like 150 with some more that I need to number and some others I'm finishing other ways. But they're not finished. So I'm finishing them as I write. So it's whichever one I pull out and I feel inspiration to write that day is the one I work on, regardless of number.
Okay, I think I found the video I was looking for.
Okay.
Skipping the intro here. Yeah, here we are.
There's still some more out there.
Yeah, skip the little flyby here.
Okay, that one has 2 sets. Okay.
And let's bring this up here.
3 and 4 and 5 in that book.
All right. Okay, here's the thing. This is how Roddenberry wrapped up the album Inside Star Trek here.
The letter was from Columbia Records. Dear Gene, is there a story behind Star Trek which hasn't been told? An intimate or very personal beginning? If so, we think it belongs on the Inside Star Trek record. All right. I can talk about things now that would have embarrassed me once. And maybe my story could be helpful to you if you're somehow different from other people, or handicapped. Most of us are in one way or another. I guess Star Trek had its first beginnings in the fact that as a child I was different, handicapped. I had difficulty breathing, eyes that didn't work well in bright sunlight, and uncoordinated. I wasn't a very pretty thing, and I suffered the awful embarrassments that only a child can feel. I don't suppose every writer has to start like that. But if I had been the things that I dreamed of being, agile, athletic, admired and popular, I know now that I never would have ended up with as happy a life. I became a reader. Thank God I became a reader. I lived in a dream world because it was a hell of a lot better world. I was Dr. Doolittle. I was Zane Grey's lonely cowboy, an explorer. Lots of it trash. I was an Indian fighter, fearless soldier, a fighter race. If you read Peanuts, I was Snoopy. I fought the Red Baron many times. Certainly, part of Star Trek was written by that boy, dreaming maybe as you do of a better world in which people would look past our exteriors and see whatever loveliness we have inside us. I remember being about 8 years old in the backyard, sitting in a soap carton, pretending that it was a great vessel of some kind. And the bold, strong person hidden inside of me, he was the captain. I remember it was an enclosed vessel because I had a second soap carton pulled down over my head. After sitting there for several hours, still encased in soap cartons, I heard the concerned voices of my parents speculating whether my illness had led to brain damage. Ah, how lovely all our daughters are inside. How fearless all our sons, if only we could see it. I remember helping my father clean the garage. Actually, he was cleaning. I was facing the firing squad. The bullets caught me, spun me to the ground, and as I lay there, bravely dying, I looked up to see Dad watching me with pity on his face, assuming I was suffering some new kind of seizure. Years later, something brought me back to reality.
Okay, I can relate to that way too much.
Yeah.
Yes, incredible. Science fiction taught me how to live in the real world. Thank you, Homer, my ex-convict friend. Thank you for John Carter of Mars. It made your cage more bearable. It helped rescue me from mine. And thank you, Claude, for that first copy of Astounding Stories magazine. Sorry you didn't reach 16 and grow out of your illness as I did. I was lucky, a miracle of adolescence. My body mended. I actually became stronger than average. But science fiction saved me from that too. Saved me from the perils of a strong body. I had learned by then that reality is incredibly larger, infinitely more exciting than the flesh and blood vehicle we travel in here. If you read science fiction, the more you read it, the more you realize that you and the universe are part of the same thing. Science still knows practically nothing about the real nature of matter, energy, dimension, or time, and even less about those remarkable things called life and thought. But whatever the meaning and purpose of this universe, you are a legitimate part of it. And since you are part of the all that is, part of its purpose, there is more to you than just this brief speck of existence. You are just a visitor here in this time and this place, a traveler through it. What a difference that makes. As a traveler here, it no longer crushes you that this world is not always fair or orderly or understandable. Your passport allows you to fix what you can, to love, to refuse to take part in ugliness. But meanwhile, you are delighted that this is such a varied, colorful, exciting place. As a traveler, you're not here to judge, but to experience. You begin to feel a new affection for the life forms here. You no longer feel threatened that some may be greater or lesser than you. It's only important that you've been given this marvelous opportunity to enjoy this trip.
And people wonder, why do conservatives like Star Trek?
In my case, right.
Do you know Star Trek? You clearly do.
Perhaps you know where I'm leading.
Yeah.
On a trip like this, and it is a trip, its loveliness is not in the
I'm
sameness
center.
of
I would
people and
definitely lean
things,
a little on the
but
center
an
right.
incredible variety.
But I am
Eventually,
in
this led
center.
me to the Star Trek statement.
I've got a lot of conservative
Infinite
family,
diversity,
native
infinite
conservative families that are
combinations.
Trekkies.
Thank whatever created us. We are different, each of us and everything around us. To the end of time, if it ever does end, no combination will ever come up quite the same. That's quite a travel package. All of this is how Star Trek began, and it's also something of what it's about. I am an alien, and so are you. And yet, and this is the loveliest thing of all, somehow we're also part of each other and part of everything that is. I don't know if this has a moral or not. Maybe it's don't sit inside soap gardens too long, unless you enjoy traveling.
That's from 1976. Maybe I'm going to repost that because this one could use a signal boost. Yeah.
That's the thing people don't even understand.
Yeah.
Escapism is huge for those of us with medical issues.
Yeah.
It's part of what we are.
Well, a lot of this is just being a kid. You think, because when you're out in a position to be able to have any kind of control or anything, life kind of sucks. Okay, you're at the mercy of whoever does that. Your parents or guardian or whatever, or some authority figure. You just got to do what you're told, even if it's clearly that what they're doing is stupid.
There's always that option.
Mm-hmm. So let's see if that
I could
does any good.
expand each of those into between 10 to 12 lines. I could
That's the kind of thing,
this
like,
more
Brian
sense.
Fuller, why did so many conservatives like Star Trek? No, they must appeal to, the neo-fascist part of Starfleet. You asshole!
Actually, that's what the liberals appeal to.
And that's what they think. You don't know any conservatives, do you?
Actually, that's the part conservatives don't usually like about it.
No, but it's also like, oh, God damn it. What? Oh, now you want me to finish. Twerp.
You two are entertaining at times.
Yeah. Now, I fixed some chicken breasts earlier. Basically, a little Mrs. Dash in there, and then doused them in Italian seasoning, and then baked them for, thing. Came out very good. I had one piece earlier. It gave her 2 pieces. Then she got upset because I cut off a hunk of one of them. The smaller of the 2, by the way. Well, they heard you yelling at me as I got in there. So anyway,
I love you, Steffi.
Let me go get the rest of it here. Back in a bit.
So this one gives you kind of a clue my attitude. I don't want to change the world. I don't want to succumb to it either. I don't want to live a prisoner covered in cobwebs, nor exist in a bed of heather. It could be that I am broken. It could be the cruel words you've spoken. It could be that I'll never see another day, or that you have wanted it that way. But what I failed to love you properly, I failed to get down in respect. I failed to be what you wanted. I failed to keep your home perfect. I don't want to split hairs, nor push a point that could be devastating or haunting. But if I failed to love you, then why would you love me? I'm a little bit odd sometimes. But I've thought of several things I could do with this one. First of all, I have to catalog it as it is into my finished pieces. And I want to rewrite this one because I have an idea for a much more literary phrasing that I think would be a little smoother. But I also want each of those 4 brackets that are completely separate styles of poetry to be expanded into a episodic set. So it's going to end up happening probably is taking this poem into 18, 28, 32, 48, and then expanding it into probably about 66 before I'm done. Sorry, I didn't add the 70. I didn't add the main title poems that'll go with it. So what it will be taking this simple poem and completely rebirthing it into multiple things. So I'm going to do with that one. It's probably the same thing I'll do with the Do You Love Me series.
Okay.
I'm going to expand the hell out of them. Because I can.
Yeah.
Because I can. And I can take something that was once a simple thing and I can make it massive.
Okay, I think using my knife would be irrelevant, so just eat this.
Okay, so the books I just counted up, I have 13 of those episodic series finished so far in the books that are here. Not counting the few I haven't found yet that I know are floating around finished yet. So, 13 is not a bad start, is it?
No.
Each one of the episodics goes somewhere between 9 poems. 8 is about the limit I do for how small they can get as the index leading. Some of them go up into the 30s and 40s of numbers inside them for a long poem as the intro. And some of those, because of how old they wrote the original stuff or multiple concept ideas, either have 2 versions of the book, which means every poem has an alternate version. Or what I'm doing with the spirit one is it's going to have basically the base 20 poems, but I'm going to be writing a series of a whole crapload of mini poems based on different social concepts and spiritual concepts in it. So that one will probably boost out into 80 plus poems. So you get a concept of how much I'm putting into these. So I think 13 is a pretty good start for that.
Yeah. I tried my hand at poetry. I just could not, another year for it, really.
There was a part of me that always wondered if you were in love with me. Or did you just get together with me because you thought it was socially right? It was hard to move on when so few could be inside of my heart beating strong. But love, when you thought the good in me, made the world seem so bright. And yes, I get tongue-tied when I try to read in front of people. This is the thing, is I can write. My deepest darling lover, how you captivate me so, more than a phoenix rising from a depth you never know. That's the intro of one of my old poems, actually. which I reference a lot in a lot of my romance stuff because it was one of the early romantic ones I wrote to Steve. So I can write. I can do the flowery. I can sound almost Shakespearean at times. I can sound like Poe. I have with Darkness Complete and Darkness Unleashed. And Poe is one of my inspirations, so that doesn't really surprise anybody, does it? I mean, Gothic girl likes Poe. I'm shocked to no one, right?
It looks like I got something black up my nose, but no, there's nothing there. It's just a shadowing. That's disturbing.
But it is crazy to me. And so, yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm making videos while I organize all these old notes. And this book has everything from poems that I never quite settled with liking the way they were originally written to just little scratch notes that I want to edit into something more and stuff like that. And this is one of multiple folders like this full of these. I've got probably, not counting my giant stack of the ones that are from the computer that are printed, this, I probably have about 20 of these. Not counting all the stuff that's already in the other folders with the episodics I'm working on. And not counting the stuff I've already copied that's already filling 2 full poetry books. Nor any of the other poetry books I've been working on since then. So this kind of gives you a glimpse of what I do with my writing. And why I do need to get to a point where I can get a setup where I can easily record daily shorts of poetry recitations. And just read several short poems and put them up as a couple shorts. Because why not, right?
Why not?
Why not, right?
I just found all my D&D books somewhere. Like, what are they on? 5th edition now? That stupid game. My books are 2nd edition. Okay? And I got to play some 1st edition in junior high, so that yes, I know the game.
So I've got this determined personality where the more I fall behind, the more I struggle to keep myself going and finish projects, the more I push myself. But I have organized so much of my photography, and I take a few breaks sorting the photos, but while I take a break from that, I'm making videos that I need to get programmed and uploaded into my drafts so I can just quick post them when I need to. And in the last few days, I've made probably about 250 videos.
Yikes.
Short videos and shorts out of all the animal clips I have.
Well, yeah.
I've done a bunch of these remixes and stuff, which are for my personal music collection, for stuff to help me work to. I have finished 3 of these episodic books. Organized, started, and partway through 6 others. I've caught up a bunch of the stuff in my other poetry books and in some of the stories I'm writing. And I actually did 6 chapters in my Dark Creatures series. So, along with cleaning in here, organizing a bunch of the art shelves, and emptying some of the stuff that I'm getting rid of out of my bedroom. And hey, Steffi, sweetie. So, if you kind of get a little context of what I've done in the last few days, all these people who talk like, oh, you just do this, or you don't really work. It's like,
this is the work, okay? What the hell?
I'm legally disabled. I can't do day-to-day jobs. But I can do photography. I can do videos. I can do YouTube. I can do writing. I can do beading and art and painting. You remember the dragon dagger that with the stand that Wise Guy sent me that I showed you?
Okay.
It's this dragon statue, and the head comes off with a full dagger on it. I'm actually detail painting the dragon on it. So it doesn't just look like a plain black dragon. That's going to be really pretty. You know how my dragons come out when they're done. I'm detailing that in metallics, in red and black. It's going to be pretty. And I'm trying to make the jewelry stuff for the family giveaways still. And I'm working on catching other stuff up. And I hung my dream catchers, which have been sitting in here, taking up space next to the shelf forever because I haven't been able to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I still couldn't reach it on my own. What I figured out was if I stand here, I can't reach it. I don't know where the step stool is, but even if I did, it will put me up here, and then it'll give me even further. I have to reach this way because I haven't bent forward to do it. Not a good idea. Not safe.
No.
So what I did was I just stood here and I used the hook on the back of the bison jawbone to reach up and hook it over the steps. I don't know what that means out about my native side when I'm using a bison jawbone that I'm working on painting a mural on to hang my dream catchers on my wall.
Well, you can't get more authentic than that now, can you?
In fact, this room I have done so little in changing the style in here and fixing things up that I technically still have a very, very old Happy Bunny calendar hooked on the wall over there in the part I don't use. And it's sitting there open to this month, about 2 years before I ever met you guys. Happy Bunny laughing, going, a good loser is still a loser.
Cruising through Twitter here, and Anna, that Star Wars girl, is doing more. She's doing a copy as Lady Death.
I have an interesting one. I'll have to show you it later. I actually found an app game where the female character, you're basically at earning ways to get her through events in her life and dress up and stuff. The face fucking looks like Anna. Actually, it looks like Anna anyways because it's a short, skinny little thing with that delicate face and a big butt. It looks like Anna. And this is from the person who actually spent time with her in person. It looks fucking like Anna.
I'll tell you, when Fortnite had Rogue show up as a skin, it looks like Anna's cosplay of Rogue. It doesn't look like anything from the comics, really. It looks like her cosplay because the hair and all that's her. That's Anna.
So I know
she ever got it.
I'm trying to figure this out because if I do all of these episodics, and yes, a few of them are only going to have around 10 poems. Most of them are between mid-teens to large numbers. Some of them are going to have 2 versions in each one. Some of them are going to have extra poems that go with that version. I'm trying to figure out how many poems that's going to title out to if you add all of these episodic books I have together that I have to finish, along with the ones I have to put together from that folder here, it's probably going to be around 250 plus. So let's just say we average about 30 a book because that's probably a low estimate for me considering how I write. 250 times 30 would be, I'm not good at numbers. A lot of numbers. I'm good at them if I just fucking write it down, but my brain does not follow them well. Oh, just that much. We're just talking about almost 8,000 poems.
Ever cut
and the thing is, I'll do it. I have thousands I've written already. And I mean thousands. So I'll do it. It's not beyond my realm. I write daily speed poems every day, which are short little, you set yourself so many lines you're allowed to write, and you have to follow that flow. Speed poems they're similar in length to like haikus and stuff, except for they're different. It could be any layout of poetry. My ones I'm doing right now are 6 lines, and the 3rd and 6th line have to rhyme. Those are my daily ones to keep my mind in the right mindset so I can do this. I do that every day automatically, so there's always at least one. And then I write a lot. And I always write a lot. And I've been writing poetry since I was 15. So when I'm going through this, part of what I'm doing is I've got so many pages that are like half dead, torn, old websites that I took down and stuff where I had all the stuff in here, but they're not organized right. They're not written down, hard copies or anything. I've got all those old ones that are in the computer printed, into a giant folder together, which is like, 1,000+ poems. And then I got all these books I'm doing.
Get off Twitter. Too much of a rabbit hole.
I'm not even getting into the dragon books. I have 6 of these and a bunch of mini books that are all going to be filled with different poetry and stories based on dragons. And I actually have a lot of it already written, and new editions I'm doing, expanded things I'm doing. The Apparitions Quest is going to be interesting because I'm trying to take anything I wrote like a decade plus ago and do a modern version of it as I copy it, right? Apparitions Quest already had 2 versions of the poem, and each poem had an entire series of mini poems written as the stanzas. To explain how big that's going to be as a task, to rewrite both of the versions I already have and recreate it, Apparitions Quest is over 22 pages long. Each one of them already has about 130 poems as the subsect group. This was it's literally a saga from beginning to introduction to the dragon to traveling through the realms into old world underground to find the last dragon and stuff.
So
because the apparitions center on the quest.
Epic poem territory.
Yeah. So, yes, because when it comes to certain types of poetry, I like to have versions where every main section of it is its own poem, and you put them together, it makes the long poem.
Yeah.
In that situation, Apparitions Quest was my first and my longest poem to date because I've never fucking finished my Poison Bite yet.
Yeah.
Poison Bite's kind of going to be interesting because it combines a lot of things into one. Basically, it is a kind of what if alternate reality where both versions of Snow White existed. Rose Red is a warrior, and the evil queen is a soul fragment of Bathory. And I've been writing it as an epic poem similar to Beowulf. It is at the point where I've got it. I've got about 200 pages of this poem. And it's not finished because it's so much work to write epic poetry. It's so much work to keep the stanza points and the continuity and everything.
Yep.
And there's so much concepts of realities, magic, curses, all this stuff. And different cultures and religions that I've worked into this that it's probably going to take me forever to ever finish it. Because it's probably, by the time I finish it, going to be about 500 pages. But every so often I pull it out and I write a little more. When I'm feeling especially brave and I'm willing to go back and read through. I mean, one of the stanza points I have in it is Bathory facing off with the evil queen fragment of herself with Mirror Mirror on the wall, who's the most bloodthirsty bitch of them all. So
there we go.
And they're warring over it. They don't like sharing that title with each other.
Yeah.
So they're both trying to take over each other's realm. I mean, it went dark and twisted. It's gothic story, definitely. But because one of my nicknames as a kid was Rose Red. Which is really interesting when you realize one of the main stanzas in their story is snowy white and rosy red, will you beat your lover dead?
That's a cheery thought.
Because the prince who was cursed into a bear shape, they kept beating up. He was their friend as a bear, and they were beating on him as children.
Grief.
They were not delicate like the other version of Snow White. No. And Rose Red, I don't know why my family chose this nickname for me. I mean, she was Snow White's sister. She's a little bit shorter, a bit plumper, red-headed, mouthy as all get out, and loved the outdoors and was wild and kind of tomboy.
Yeah, I don't see the connection at all.
I can't imagine why that was one of my nicknames. Can you? But this is the interesting thing. This book is the one I'm working on with Apparitions Quest. It's probably going to fill 2 of these books by the time I'm done, just for that poem in all its versions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's daunting to me. But I have 6 of this book and a whole bunch of my mini comp books, which I don't know if you've seen those. A whole bunch of my mini comp books that are purple that really look right with that book, where they're going to be little side poems and stories like that and things that go in it. Those are all going to be full of my dragon stories. And that's not going to count any of the ones that went in my episodics. I've got a little bit of a thing for dragons. I always kind of have, and I kind of have a tendency to see them kind of Dragonheart style.
I was born in Year of the Dragon, so I don't have to right at the get-go. I had things for dragons.
So the original version in book this size breaks down to lines. When I when I filled out the original poem in this book for Apparition's Quest, just the first poem I did the first year.
Yep. A little something from college.
30 pages. Just for the first version of the first poem.
Here's what I got into in college.
Yeah.
And these are somewhat special because girlfriend I had shortly afterward, because I really got these at CSU, but when I went down to Oklahoma Baptist University for some strange reason, because I was told a fairy tale about them having a good program. No, they don't. All right, where is it? I know it's here somewhere.
I need to paint more bones.
Here we are. Look here. Autographed by Anne McCaffrey.
Cool.
All 3 of them.
That's nice.
The gal I was hooked up with worked, part of the committee, worked the convention in Houston, or literary convention in Houston. And she was going to be a guest that year. I couldn't get down there, but I did send her these books for an autograph.
I don't know if I'll ever actually have the courage and the nerve to actually publish my stuff and get big. I know I've got tons of it. And I know I want to at least make sure that there's friends that have copies where they won't completely disappear when I'm gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would Steph want to read some of my stuff?
Oh, I'm sure she would. She reads everything.
I don't know. Does she like fantasy and mythology and stuff like that?
We're drowning in every kind of book you can think of.
I'm saying that, trying to get her to respond.
She's not on right now.
Okay.
She's out,
I know she said she couldn't be on long, but she also didn't say bye yet. So.
Well, all right. Somebody just popped back in. Yeah, she's back on now. So ask a question again.
I don't know, Steffi. Would you want to read a bunch of my episodic poems and my dragon work and mythology stuff?
2, 3, 4.
There's my girl.
Anne McCaffrey was a character though, because I told about. She insisted now, and this is like maybe 15, 20 people in the committee. They're planning, going to the dinner. She insists everybody call her mom. And when the waiter comes up, to take their order, she made a big point of pointing out, these are all my children from different marriages.
Okay, so
easily 15 or 20 people around the table. It's like, okay. And this feisty little, silver-haired gray.
So, generally speaking, I'm an obsessive poet who is really obsessed with mythology. I have a book series I need to finish, which is actually based on one of my pen names, where she's a mongrel who was born half elven and succubus, and her people are warring with each other. And her sister is kind of one of the leaders of the succubus trying to kill her. One of the books kind of starts with her watching her sister from a tree as her sister's killing somebody and kind of reviling that. I kind of wish I could be like her.
thinking I need to get into just doing some writing. I'm probably just in fanfic. Mainly on this ship right here. It was, I had, this is the Eldridge. It was the last of the Constitution class and the least.
Based on this room and where my hooks are that hold up the upper shelf, I think I need at least 2 more of those giant dream catchers to hook on the side walls. I need them. They're kind of help me focus.
Yeah.
And I know they're not the authentically made ones. They're the touristy ones. I don't give a shit. I make authentic ones. The big ones are expensive as hell to make and hard to do. And I just want some that I have for artwork.
Yeah.
So I don't care, you know?
All right. She's on her phone now.
Mwah. So maybe I need to start putting up some more of my poetry stuff and actually doing some writing on lines.
Yeah.
What I've done every year for Halloween is a blind resuscitation of the Raven in unedited context. Which is I literally cross glasses off, cover eyes, and recite the entire poem from beginning to end. I've done that every year on Halloween since I started streaming. And it always freaks somebody in the audience out. They're always sitting there going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" It's like, I think this year I'll do that, but I'll end with that. I think I'll actually read some of my own poems first, some of my dark mythology ones.
Yeah.
It's Halloween. It's Gothic night. I should read a bunch of my Gothic poetry, right?
I haven't.
Halloween is witch night fall. Wait, that's Grinch night. That's not right. I mean,
I haven't read any posts since high school. Their drama teacher had the bright idea to do a, kind of a slightly experimental plaything of, doing different poems.
I love Poe stuff.
We had one time we're at a grade school, and instead of like in the auditorium, we're in a classroom. Turn the lights off. There's too much light coming in. A couple of the kids recognize me from back in our townhouse area. I was kind of the break. Give me a break, guys. Okay. That broke a lot of the mood there.
I need to write a couple more things like Apparition's Quest, though. Steffi, Ornery's okay. Athena is, oh boy,
managing. Yeah.
We don't know if we're going to be able to save her.
No. Well, as long as there's light, there's hope.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
She's not in pain, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
With the reason we're not pushing that we have to either get the treatment now or give her up, is because she's still happy and purring most of the time.
Yeah.
As long as she's happy, we're going to keep her alive as long as we can.
Well, like when I had my dog Tiny, when she started going, like she wasn't in any pain or they weren't, still quite happy about it. So, and it's also principle of my mom had always been a little too kill happy when the pet starts going. Like, no, I told her you are not killing another one of my dogs.
Jazzy was interesting because she had she developed arthritic issues when she was like 10, and she wasn't that old considering.
Yeah.
Ornery's developing them at not quite 8 years old, so but that apparently comes from a birth defect. So but Jazzy had all that. She had a cystic condition similar to me and Athena. It's really interesting how that keeps happening in my house, even though it's not that common in cats. And it's only about, to some degree, 10% of females, but most women do not have a version of PCOS like I do.
It's like, what the hell's going on here?
It's just like this. I think they can smell their own. They can smell what the person that can take care of them through it. Jazzy had a very, very severe flare-up of the cystic. She went from tiny to huge in a few days, and when they removed it, it was actually several pounds inside a cat.
Jesus.
And she recovered from that.
Yeah.
They had to cut her stomach open in 6 places to remove that giant cyst.
Jesus.
And she recovered and lived another almost 3 years.
I find a picture of Tiny.
But I mean, so she went through that. She went in and out of cystic issues and medical issues. She developed kidney issues from all the other medical issues when she was 14. She was almost 17 when she passed away. And she was still happy. In fact, she went from climbing around in the window, purring. She literally falls on my head in a seizure and didn't wake up. It was literally moments. And she wasn't acting like she was in pain as she passed, and she was in our arms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, for a cat with all her issues, could it have gone much better?
Yeah. There she is.
And it's like Gamma was Jazzy's daughter, and we didn't know at that time how bad Jazzy's health was. Nor did we know that the male that we rescued, who was supposed to be fixed, wasn't. So we ended up with kittens. Gamma was, they told us, wouldn't survive being a kitten.
Jared, my baby. That's
and then they kept giving us, well, there's no way in hell her organs are going to survive to full adulthood. She'll make it to maybe 2 years old. Because it's about 2 to 2.5 years when cats reach full maturity.
Yeah.
And they kept, this was the thing, is Gamma had very severe birth defects where we actually had to force feed her with a dropper as a kitten because she couldn't even nurse properly from the medical issues. And every time we went through anything with her, the vets just said she shouldn't be alive, but I wouldn't say you're going to have her much longer. You know? She was 10 years old when she passed.
Yeah.
That's a really long life for somebody like that.
Yeah.
Athena has a ton of medical issues, and she was seriously abused, and she was thrown from a moving car. The fact that she's 7 is actually really good considering.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're going to get her past 7 because of all the issues.
Yeah, this little beauty here, I've literally found on the street. I was working an ice cream truck up in North Carolina. She comes trotting up, and a lot more hair. She looked like a timber wolf. She hadn't been brushed out in forever. And they're making a sale for, and then a couple of girls, and the dog just walks on up, and mom said, you're talking about calling animal control. No. We'll figure out something. And I just, took her on the truck. And after a few fashions, managed to, because she had a collar, but no tags. Eventually managed to get a leash because I had stopped off at PetSmart or something.
Yeah.
And then during one point, the thing brought her home. My mom's going, no. And I was like, no, just, I'm going to take her to, there's a no-kill shelter, of Max Fund. Take her to that, the next day. But it's like, but it's the best dog ever had. And the thing is, they didn't have room at Max Fund. And the point, look, she's already clearly bonded to you. Do you sure you don't want to take it? It's okay. Brought her home. And it's like, she was probably about 9 or so when I found her, 9 or 10.
And so my history with my kitties is they find me. They need me.
Yeah.
When I got Jazzy, she was a few weeks, probably not quite 2 months old. And she latched on to me, and her and her brother had been rescued from a bad situation. And when I got Wizard, I stole him from illegal breeders, actually. And the cops let me keep him. And I couldn't end up keeping him long term because his medical was too extreme for the situation I was in at that time. But I actually stole him from the breeders. I actually admitted to the cops I broke into their property and took him when I saw them hurting him. And the cops let me keep him. So, I mean, they knew what I did.
Yeah.
I took him and I used him as evidence to tell them, go get a warrant, look, and showed them the injuries. And I have no regret for doing that. None. None whatsoever. I'm very proud that I did it. I don't care. They could suck it. They deserved it. So, but Wizard was Gamma's father, and they were breeding silver mouse. So Gamma had Jazzy's tuxedo markings, and she had his silver fur with the light spirals in it. She was gorgeous. And her fur felt like silk under your fingers. She was my baby. I love that girl.
There's some submissions for the concordance. Either, can you find the Orion ship in this picture? Answer, it's behind the asteroid. So, I just wanted to wave at, just a gag thing.
But my pets find me, but Ornery has severe anxiety. She needs another cat in the house.
Yeah.
And realistically, even if Athena pulls through, she's going to be too medically frail for a long time to be Ornery's support.
Mm-hmm.
And the odds of her pulling through aren't good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I need to find a kitten or two.
Mm-hmm.
Preferably two so that they can age together. So when I lose Ornery, they won't be alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've proven time and time again, there's all the studies on it. Cats that have at least one other kitty in the house have far less anxieties, are much happier, and tend to live about 3 to 4 years longer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't handle not having another cat around well.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going to get another cat to help me deal with Ornery, I need another couple cats so they can take care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the only proper thing to do.
Yeah.
So I'm working at this stuff. I'm figuring it all out, but
How did you have a chance to give this one a good once over there? I rather like how this one came out. The Kukulkan is they're in the Enterprise.
okay. Actually, that's rather perfect for the first one in that book. But I need at least 4.
I'm not sure what possessed me to do this one, but I like it. Let's see where we're at here.
Okay. Let's see.
And here's the more picture of me and Tiny.
I have to mark these a sec.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know exactly what I've got in each book for pages, because that matters when I do these layouts and these pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm obsessive. Each book has to have the exact number of pages needed for this book. Be really neat, really beautiful, and done,
Mm-hmm. There, Tiny sucked up behind the couch, and Jonesy. That cat, for about the first few days, hid in my mother's bedroom when that dog is. And in not a lot of time, pretty much, they're cuddling up next to each other. So.
Okay, so you guys want a funny story?
Hmm.
And it involves while I was in the bath.
Okay.
Okay, Ornery is very typical cat in some ways. She hates baths and bathwater, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Except where she also wants to rescue me. So she follows me in and sits there trying to convince me to get out of the water the entire time, and sometimes try to pull me out.
Yeah.
I
need to find that Kermit.
So the story goes on with this here.
Mm-hmm.
Ornery also has this obsession with liking when I sing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I sing, she'll come running from wherever she is, and she'll lay on my chest, my stomach, with her head in between my boobs, staring up adoringly while I sing and purring. I was singing in the tub, and she climbed on me in the tub to lay there and stare at me adoringly. This is not the end of the story, mind you. And we're sitting there, and I'm singing, and she's laying there purring so hard over the water, laying on my chest that my whole body's shaking with her. And all of a sudden, as I hit one of the notes that she likes, she rolls over, sticks her head sideways, reaches, hugs around my boob, and starts licking it. What the fuck, cat?
That's my assessment of JJ Trek right there.
At which point I'm sitting there going, cat?
You're being molested by your cat.
She's done worse, but that story is not for on air.
Yeah.
And it wasn't to me. Poor Steve. Anyway, so yeah, there's another story that I can't tell on air.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I did this painting in high school. Actually, maybe you would enjoy that, but and it did win an award at Starfest in the art contest. And it's somewhere in storage. I gotta find out on my own paintings. Never known I did. I did a version of this, and it sold actually.
Oh.
So I have made a sale in my artwork. That would be neat. Yeah.
Yay! I mean,
and there's Jonesy. With all the attitude that usually goes with it. Spider-Man sketch.
So I do need to head out in the other room in just a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get off air, I can tell you the other story real quick before I go.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of promised not to talk about it on air.
Oh, okay.
It's funny.
There's me in the 5th grade. There you know. And I still got that mug somewhere. I think it's actually on the shelf right now. I like this one. And through the days on the horse with no name it. It's Frank and you fucking know it.
Why does it have to be Frank?
Mm.
That was my dad's name.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I knew somebody who sang that on a horse that was lame.
Oh.
That really changes the context, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, there's this one old fanfic story, The Doctor and the Enterprise, where the Tom Baker's doctor hooks up with the Enterprise on its way back from the 5-year mission, and all the misadventures. And one of the things kind of bugged me at that thing is always the artwork that accompanied it was usually either really cartoony or just not good. So I found out that it's actually online. So okay, so got that and started correcting all the ASCII text breaks and everything else, and trying to correct a few typos here and there. But then realized, okay, wait a minute. They mentioned Nurse Chapel. She doesn't have one fucking line. Some of the dialogue didn't quite ring true. So I turned it all full on rewrite. And is available on my Angel Fire website. In fact, I think I'll put that up here. Let me see if I can dig that up.
So I'm going to say I'm ready to wrap up if you are.
All right, well, I'm gonna post this link real quick.
Yep, I figured you would.
For those who want. Okay. Let me go ahead and
It is almost 11. And I've got a lot of work to get done in the other room yet.
Where is that? Angel Fire? Where the hell is it? Damn it. Crap. Well, I will, I will find that link some other time. Now, I have it posted elsewhere, so.
Okay.
But but it's an adaptation of the old Gene Airy fanfic story, The Doctor and the Enterprise. I think I've polished to a higher shine, given the dialogue a little more true to the characters, and finally gave Nurse Chapel some dialogue. And there are other things. I also had to correct a little thing because she, figured that Kirk didn't know anything about being on a horseback. No, that has been since superseded. Kirk knows very much how to handle a horse because Bill Shatner knows how to handle a horse. So I had to correct that around a bit. And mostly it's just pacing. Paragraph breaks during a fight scene that makes it read better. I think I did pretty good.
I do not get the people who complain about generations. And that includes, yes, Nerdrotic and all of them. they act like that was such a horrible death, and they downplay what it was. It died on a bridge. It's like died on a bridge after saving someone's life and helping prevent the universe from being destroyed.
That was after a rewrite from when they did the original ending where he was shot in the back.
And guess what?
He went out like a punk at the end.
He wanted his character to die in that movie to end the storyline.
Not really.
To a degree.
He was told that if he didn't agree to do it, he'd be killed off screen. This gave him a chance to at least have a hand in it.
This whole thing, though, was they were moving from one generation to the next. They were trying to create a closure.
Yeah.
You got to
certain
understand that.
That kind of time gap, you don't need a closure. It's like, one guy in the AOL message board said, you don't need to kill the torchbearer, but you don't pass the torch by killing the torchbearer.
Yeah, but I don't mind how they handled it.
Yeah.
And I get some people don't like it, but he died a hero.
Well, there was a lot of it was just wrong-headed. It was a depressing story. Oh, about death. What? Come on. That's just not a Star Trek story, okay? Please. And actually, it was Patrick Stewart's idea to kill off Robert and Renee. So even back then, do not listen to Patrick Stewart, okay? He does not have the greatest creative instincts. Because I'll tell you, I did a whole blog entry on that one about it. It seems like, no, they're not just trying to move on. They're killing off Star Trek one piece at a time. Anything that wasn't theirs, but
it
came across very fast. Yeah.
I didn't see it that way at all. I did see that it went darker than a lot of the others, but it still had the heart that they were still trying to explore and be adventurers and fight the evils in the universe and make life better. It still had that heart. I had those issues with DS9. They went way too dark and way too much into killing off what used to be.
DS9 was going to do it long form, though. They went up to shell out money for a 2-hour thing. And, okay, have a nice day. Wait a minute. You just killed off our captain and blew up the ship. What the hell am I supposed to be happy about? With DS9, you can stretch it all out and kind of live through it with the characters. And but it
didn't have the hope of Star Trek, and it had lost a lot of spirit in it when they went full war.
Well, the case of I think they did it pretty. In like, let's take the Federation with their ideals and their optimism, and let's put it to the test. Let's run against someone who doesn't want to play nice. They're not going to listen. You're
going to get me here. Is that I will disagree with you heavily on that because I had a lot of issues with DS9, and I have the series. I love it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I need to get the series.
But I actually have a lot of problems with DS9 overall. And do I think that overall it's still good Trek? It's still actual Star Trek, yes. And that's where I think I still count Generations in that. And yes, people have different opinions on that movie, but it still was trying to honor the spirit of Star Trek, even if it had errors.
Well, Generations has a lot of, not believe it, also the science is wonky as hell. Like,
the science
even for Star Trek, it's wonky as hell.
I was going to say the science in most Star Trek's pretty wonky as hell, honestly. I mean, but the problem I had, actually, I was a little more turned off by the whole Borg Queen than I was a lot of the other stuff. I get why they did it. They were trying to make it easier to represent, and they were trying to show how it became this thing.
Yeah.
And truth be told, there is no such thing as a completely one-mind dictatorship in the world. There's always somebody ruling it. So there's some accuracy in it, but they went way too into a crazy psycho bitch and all this other stuff that just was odd and creepy. And I'd take Insurrection over a lot of the Borg Queen storylines.
Oh, Insurrection, I think, was actually a pretty good Star Trek story.
That one gets bitched at about a lot, but it actually is a beautiful Star Trek telling of the Trail of Tears, and that is what it was meant as.
I mean, it's not necessarily a great movie, but I think it was an outstanding Star Trek story.
Well, it had a lot of the same problems that a lot of the Star Trek movies had. A lot of them felt like overlong episodes.
Yeah.
But
some of the best episodes would make lousy movies.
Yeah. But I loved it overall. I loved Insurrection. But I think on Generations, I don't agree with a lot of people. I don't think it was the greatest movie, but it was not as horrible as people play it off as either. And
personally,
Kirk's death wasn't completely senseless like they make it out to be.
I only have the DVD for the Matt Jeffries tribute. That's it. I have nothing to do with the movie.
Do you know what my biggest issue with the movies that they made for Next Gen were? They really obsessed over making every fucking movie about Data and Picard. And really made every other character a sideline.
Yeah, because during the show,
in all the Star Trek shows,
Data was more of an annoyance to Picard. If Geordi was the best buddy with Data.
I mean, I love Data as a character in the show. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love Data overall. And I love Brett Spiner's acting. But, but in all the Star Trek shows, it was always supposed to change who was the focus off and on. It was supposed to showcase different characters. Yeah. When they hit the Next Gen movies, as much as I love most of them, fuck Nemesis. Fuck Nemesis hard, including the fact that they stole the concept from a kid who did a special with Trekkies in the 90s. Yeah.
Talking Gabe Kerner?
No, I can't remember his name. They released a special on Showtime in the mid 90s called Trekkies. No. Special.
Okay.
It was about an hour and a half, but it was interviews with people. It was talking about the history of Star Trek and stuff. It wasn't a movie. This was documentary stuff.
Yeah, it was a documentary.
They interviewed a whole bunch of different fans. Everything from children to people who've made public fame and stuff like that.
Did Denise Crosby host this thing?
No. I cannot remember all the details on this. I remember this clip because I watched it then and I rewatched. I found it a while back and rewatched it. There was a kid on it that was about 14 that was talking to them about his fanfic movie he was writing for Next Gen called Nemesis. Not kidding.
I think that might be the same one that Denise Crosby, because it was Trekkies and it was, it hit theaters.
No, this one wasn't in theaters. It was just to Showtime. It was a special Showtime did behind the scenes, so I don't know. I know there was this one in the theaters, but I didn't think they were the same one.
They might be, because I'm thinking of Gabe when he was about 14 at the time.
But yeah,
or the point
literally
the point where sitting there with his dad, someone called, this is the worst possible time you can call. Go away.
But literally, this kid explaining this story he's writing, and there's even people joking with him that no, that's not a great story for Star Trek. There's too much you'd have to change. And then the movie they did is basically that. It's like, and they named it the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, look, I know Roddenberry was a shameless plagiarizer, but that's over the line even for him.
It's on the nose too. Nemesis had all kinds of issues anyway, starting with the director, Stuart Baird, who had no interest in doing any research whatsoever in the start. He wanted this is going to be the first Star Trek movie ever, as far as that. It's like, you can't do that.
Nemesis is what I consider. Nemesis is where I consider that they actually flipped the storyline and they actually went New Trek.
It certainly set the stage for it. But
I consider it part of New Trek. I consider it part of the trash.
But it's also because there's already enough bad blood in the thing about Star Trek in general, because they pretty much shut out the fans and getting any kind of change to the Enterprise going on. And the only option left was to torpedo the opening of Nemesis, because they were not listening. It didn't seem like they were listening to us at all.
Yeah, I didn't like Enterprise either.
At that time, it was like, you're not, and the fans are getting more and more pissed. And when comments come around from the writers, they're just a bunch of, we're not going to pay. Oh, really? You're not going to listen to us? When's your movie coming out? We ain't going. Because it's not just the fact that it was a bad movie. It didn't open. It got beaten by a Jennifer Lopez rom-com. It's the first time a Star Trek movie has never been number one when it opened. Even Star Trek V was number one the week it opened. It died quickly afterwards because of word of mouth, but this one, it never even opened, really. It just laid there. And those that did so, it sucks anyway, don't bother. And it just died. But that one, that's where, the whole thing of, it's fan fatigue. No, it's bad Trek fatigue, okay? You got to listen to us. Now,
I can sit there and criticize. I can criticize something in every movie, even the best Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
I can pick some stuff apart. I've sat there and dissected and picked apart things even in Wrath of Khan, although I still fucking love it.
Yeah.
And I will sit there and pick apart the episodes I love too. But I still love them. And I pick apart. I will still watch everything that happened before Enterprise in the shows, and everything that happened before Nemesis in the movies. Happily.
Yeah.
Even though I find Janeway an insufferable feminist whiny bitch, and I can't stand her fucking guts, and I can't stand the actress's fucking guts either. And the ridiculous fake native shit they did in that really pisses me off. That they've made this big deal that we're going to base it on real natives and we're going to use your story correctly and stuff. And then they hired a known fake native author who make up bullshit about our culture. Sorry, do I have a little bit of bitch side about that one?
So not a fan of a coochie moron, huh? Yeah.
He's a fucking fake. Anyway, so.
Well, Beltran is actually because there is an article. He had very big issues going on, but he didn't like what was happening, but he kept bitching about it. They were hoping they fire him. No, they just gave him more money. So, okay, fine. There is an autographed picture of him at Chakotay. And it says there, Brandon Braga as a wanker, Robert Beltran.
No, I have nothing against Beltran. He absolutely
Beltran's a fun guy.
He did not like that how they treated his culture.
Oh no.
He's been very vocal about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, he's not from my tribe, but he's still native boy.
Yeah,
we don't like people fucking with her.
He's Mexican, I think, yeah.
He's mix of both, and the Mexican is actually on the side that actually has more of the original tribes mixed in.
Okay.
So he is a conglomerate of Hispanic and Native. And he's actually quite mixed.
Yeah.
I've actually looked over the lineage that he released himself. He's very mixed. So am I, but we're mixed in very different backgrounds.
I could tell you a little something about him that I'm not going to do on screen. I found out from a friend who, a roommate. I had a little encounter with him, and let's just say stuff was heard through the walls. Yep. And let's just say certain things he likes, and I'll leave it at that.
Considering what I am into myself, I'm not going to make any comments.
Oh, I'm not. No, that's nothing. It's not. We are just the fact that you know that much about an actor.
But
show.
We definitely need to end this.
Yes, yeah.
So I can tell you a little story, and you can tell me what that is, because now you got me curious.
Oh yeah. Okay, so on that note, we will go and pull the plug here now. So catch you later, kids.